Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be the wrap-up for my first hunt of 2018. This hunt, you can actually watch the whole thing. I've uploaded all of the rolls in 5-roll increments, and I'm glad I did these ones live because, man, there is a lot of stuff to show. But let's start with the small stuff. So first of all, we have the 2009s. There were 3, 1 birth and early childhood, as well as 2 professional life. Now for the Canadians, there were 26 today, and of those 26, lots of really nice ones here. So let's start with the King Georges. This is actually 3 King Georges is the most I've ever found in one box. 2 of them were 1942. This is what a King George looks like. Or I suppose that's not the greatest example. There's a nicer one. 47. And these are not King George. This is Queen Elizabeth II. I keep these ones because this is the oldest design of her, which looks like this. This one's 1955. It has it's the shoulder fold variety. No shoulder fold is quite rare. There's also a 1960, a 64, actually 2 64s. And this one's actually not really worth much, but it is a 67, which is the 100th anniversary of the Canadian Confederation. And here's the remainder of the Canadians from 1968. There's a weird one here. It's been pretty badly mutilated. You can tell it's Canadian just by the way it drops, but there is some remnants of the design. Anyways, you keep going. Here's another interesting one, 1952 to 2002, 50 years of Queen Elizabeth's reign. And this one's also pretty cool. It's the last year issue of Canadian Cents. They stopped making them after 2012. So that's a cool one to have. Next we have the oddities, or 9 of those, which is made up of 6 1959 planes. Some nicer ones in there, some worse ones, as well as 259 Denvers. This one's kind of odd. It seems like somebody smashed the date area because it's very smudgy there. Definitely doesn't look like a mint error. Now what is a mint error is this amazing error here. This is the coolest error I've ever found. And looking around online, I couldn't really find very many coins that had this level of cut on them. But what happens with this is that an actual chunk of the die breaks off. You can see right there. This is the final stage of a die crack, where normally you would just see the crack, but this time the chunk has actually come off of the coin. And as a result, there's a large unstruck region. And there's also a mark on the back where there was no pressure because the die did not strike it. But really cool. According to my red book there, an error of this type might be worth around $12, but really not sure. It kind of depends on the coin, I'm sure. Next we have the San Franciscos, which is made up of a 1972S and a 1970S. This is the large date variety. Small date is the one that's rare. As well as 219 uncirculated coins that are all copper. I made a guess that, like, if I were to sell these for 3 cents each, this would be worth about $6.57. That's just a very guess number. Here are the oldest ones. There's a 63, 2 63s actually. 66. You can see all these. There's just so many. 72, 73. Interesting, 1971 appears to be entirely missing from these. And just an enormous amount of 1981s here. 1981s and 1980s as well are quite prominent. And that's because in this box there were 20 rolls that appear to have been rolled in 1981, which explains all this and all of this. However, from those rules, there were no coins older than 1968 that were uncirculated. Well, I suppose this wheat penny here is about the closest we come to that. But within those uncirculated, there's actually some pretty nice toned ones. This interesting red toning. This appears to have only affected the early 70s coins. Perhaps they were stored in a different area at one point. They've all got a sort of rainbow shine to them, which looks really cool. I really like these. Probably going to put some of them in 2x2s, as well as this that's going in a 2x2. And onto the wheats. This is just an absolute jackpot hunt for wheats because there were 59. Normally you get like 10 to 15 in a modern box, but because of those rules from 1981, I think 54 of these wheats were from those rules alone. There's an extremely strong representation in the late 50s, but let's just go through these. So first of all, we have this 58 Denver, which is really nice. Just a beautiful coin all around. It's got a bit of toning. You can see sort of it was up against another coin. Another 58D, 58D. It's 58D. It's got a sort of woody penny look. I know some people like these. If you get it in the right light, you can sort of see how there's grains running up and down along the coin. There's a 58. 57 Denver. There were 12 57 Denvers, I believe, which is just crazy. Like, I've never had that many of a single day before. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's another interesting one. This one's been cleaned. However, it does have a lot of errors on it. There's cuds in the 9 and the 5 on this coin. Well, no, there's sort of something on the 5. It's harder to get the camera to focus on it. There's also a cud in the B in Liberty. So all around a really bad die on this one. There's another 57D. This one also has a cud in the B. Or 57D. 57D. Another one. Here's another one with a cud. This one's got a much more prominent cud in the 5. A cud is just a break in the die that causes there to be extra metal. And still more 57Ds. I think that's the last one there. Oh, no, one more. This one's been kind of run over or something. And 57 planes as well. I think there's a couple of those. You can see the two of them here. 56D. Or 56D. Here's another 56D. It's this is another nicer coin. It's got a sort of, you can see the luster under there. It really doesn't have much wear. Quite nice. 56D, 56 plain, 56. This one's a very weak strike. You can see there's a lot of faded parts of the design, but that's not wear. That's just really not very, it's just a weak design. The die did not hit the coin strong enough, so the details weren't very sharp. There's a 55D, 53D. There's a lot of 53Ds. I think there's like 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, only 4. Here's a 53. I consider this one AU. It's got a sort of an interesting look to it. There's a bit of sort of color under there. Doesn't seem to show up on the camera. However, it's also just a really nice, evenly toned coin. I like this one. Here's a 53 with a cut in the 5. And also, it's another weak strike. You can see the L in Liberty was not very well struck. And coming back over here is a 52D. Another 52D, another one. There's a 4th. 52 plain. 51 Denver. 51 plain. 51 San Francisco. This one's always a cooler coin when you find one from San Francisco, because there's really Not that many later wheats that were minted in San Francisco. Not even that many earlier weeks. San Francisco was just generally not a very active mint as far as circulation coins go. They mint proof coins now. It's 50 Denver. Come on. Alright, I'm going to have to hold this a bit higher up. There's 49 plain. 46 Denver. 46 plain. There's a lot of 46 planes here. So there's 2, 3. This one's probably a 46. That's what it looks like to me. However, the strike is so weak that you can barely tell. Another 46. This one's a nicer one. I keep wanting to lower the camera. 45 plain. 44 plain. 44 plain. There's another 44. This is another one of the nicer coins. It's got a sort of, you see on some of the older nicer coins, they've got a sort of bluish tone under them, but it's clearly luster. 42, 41, another 41. Both of these 41s have a lot of dings in the rim. 1940. We're almost at the end year. One more 1940. A 1940S. It's a cooler date. And the only pre-1940 wheat in this entire box, a 1927. You know, you'd expect at least a couple from all of these, considering, like, the last hunt I did, or like 2 hunts ago, there were 5 1930s wheats and maybe like 15 overall wheats. But geez, I'm not complaining. 57 wheats is just incredible. As well as all these uncirculateds. This is easily the best hunt I've ever had. Perhaps not in the quality of the coins, but just in the quantity. I'm extremely impressed with how this came out. So, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever. I'll see you next time. Bye.